Om Namah Shivaya.
ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भाम्
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम्
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्
ॐ
ॐ
सहना भवतु
सहना भवतु
सहनौ
सहनौ
भुनक्तु सह
भुनक्तु
वीर्यं
सह
कर्वावहै
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु
विद्विषावहै
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति
शान्ति
शान्तिः
शान्तिः
ॐ तत्सत् ॐ नमः शिवाय गुड मॉर्निंग
Tatsat Om Namah Shivaya. Good morning, Acharya.
So we are on the 15th chapter, Panchadashodhyayaha, Purushottama Yoga. So we will just chant the second mantra because we have completed the first mantra in the last class. Shri Bhagavanuvacha
श्रीभगवानुवाच
Padaschordhvam prasataastasya shakha
ततश्चोर्ध्वं प्रसृतास्य शाखा
Pravardha Vishaya Pravala
गुणप्रवृद्धा विषयप्रवालाः
Alaha
Padaschamulanyanusantatani
Adhascha
दत्तानि
Mulanyanasantatani
Karmanubandhini Manusyaloke.
Sarvanubandhini
मनुष्यलोके
Manushya
Okay, so look at the words. We are talking about what? We are talking about the Ashwatham, the upside down people tree. So Tasya Shakhaha Guna Pravridhaha. So it's Tasya Shaka, the branches of the tree. Guna Pravridhaha. Pravridhaha means nourished. So branches are nourished by the gunas. I'm again muting all of you. Somebody is keeping his mic open. So if when you unmute yourself to say something, please mute yourself immediately after that. Otherwise, the disturbance continues. So its branches are those which are nourished by the gunas. And Vishaya Pravalaha, the shoots, the branches are actually not the branches, the shoots. The fresh shoots coming out of the branches are the sense objects. And Prasritaha Adaha Cha Urdhva. These branches are spread out above and below. And Mulani Anusantatani Adaha. The mulams, the roots, Adaha, are spread everywhere. Anusantatani are spread everywhere. And what are they? Karma Anubandhini. They are the binding karmas. Karma Anubandhini. They are binding karmas. Manushaloke, in the world of men, in this Manushaloka. Right? So, its branches are nourished by the gunas, and the shoots are the sense objects which are there everywhere, up and down, above and below. And not only that, the roots are stretched below. Adaha. Shoots are stretched below. And where below? In the world of men. So this is the samsara tree being further described. Tasya shakaha prasritaha. Shaka refers to the various lokas. Remember, we talked about the lokas, the 14 lokas. The branches of the tree are spread wide and far and wide. Similarly, the 14 lokas are spread far and wide. Adhaschordhvam. So, adaha cha urdhvam. The sandhi breakup is important. Adhaschordhvam. Adaha cha urdhvam. What is it qualifying? The shakas, the lokas. So some of the lokas are adaha, below, and some of the lokas are urdhvam, above. Now, the question is, how do you decide which is above and below? What is above and what is below? You have to have a reference point, right?
Manushaloka is the
Manushya Loka is the reference point. So, Shankara adds over here, Adaha means Manushya Adibhi. Manushya Loka should be a reference point. Anything above the Manushya Loka is above. Anything below is below. Therefore, he says Yavat Sthavaram. Keeping that Manushya Loka as the reference point, but excluding that Manushya Loka. Why does it say that? Because the middle has to be excluded when you say above and below. So Manushya Loka is excluded. Everything above, everything below. So we have others. I mean, other means all the lower lokas. You have many of them. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasatala, Mahatala, all those, Patala, etc. Right. But there is another classification also. If you take only the Bhulaka, within the Bhulaka itself, you have lower bodies and higher bodies. Right. So these are all jivas, conscious beings. You cannot take inanimate objects. So you can have a classification inside the Bhuloka where Adaha means below and Urdhva means above, so higher and lower bodies. Here, remember, the reference point is what?
Bhuloka.
Karma.
Reference point is the human body.
One being.
You
Karma.
are not following the argument. Okay. When you take lower bodies and higher bodies, the reference point is obviously the human body, Manushya Shariram. Right. Then he says that you can, when you say higher lokas, you have to take all the higher lokas up to Brahma Loka. Or you can think of it as higher bodies in the higher loka. So you have Deva Shariram, Gandharva Shariram, Pitra Shariram, etc. up to Hiranya Garbha Shariram. Right? So you can take both meanings. You can take either bodies or you can take lokas. And within the Manusha Loka, if you are taking, human body is the middle. But even otherwise, if you're taking across all the lokas and you're saying bodies, then also human body is the middle, the reference point. Anything better than a human body, like Deva, Gandharva, Pitra, etc., is upper bodies. Anything lower than a human body is lower bodies, right? And Shankara says, how do you get these bodies? He quotes from Katha Upanishad, which we have just completed. Anybody remembers the quote from Katha Upanishad where Yama is telling Nachiketas, different bodies are given to different people depending upon what? Okay, so Yatha Karma, Yatha Shrutam, he says. Yes, where according to karma and upasana, people get different bodies. So Shankara here is reminding you that the body which you get, we normally say Ishvara decides. But by saying Yatha Karma, Yatha Shrutam, which means according to your karma and upasana, Shankara is reminding you, sorry, Shankara is reminding you that Ishvara is only the tailor. The design is given by you. In what form? Karma and your upasana. So in the we have, whenever we say when we say karanam, we say samanya karanam and vishesha karanam. How will you revert this into samanyam and vishesham?
Karma is the Vishesha Karma.
And
Ishvara is the Samanya Karma.
Ishvara samanya karanam. Right. Okay. So remember that there's an imagery that this ajnani human being is like a monkey in the tree of samsara. What does a monkey do? He swings from the lower branch to the higher branch. What is the imagery? The jiva moves from lower lokas to higher lokas and back from higher lokas to manusha loka to lower lokas. So body to body, loka to loka is the movement. And what is the question you should ask? Why should I remain in the tree? Is it not? The person who asks that question, why should I not be free from the tree? He is the person who is a sadhaka. Until you ask that question, you will remain in that tree of samsara. Okay. Now we look, Shankara gives detailed explanations on each of the words. So guna pravardha. Guna pravardha, he says, is gunaihi sattva rajas tamobihi. Guna means sattva rajas tamobihi. Pravardha means sthuli krita. Sthuli krita. Can you understand it? Simple like Sanskrit actually. Sthuli krita. What does it mean? No?
Grossified.
Grossified.
Classification, which means what? Body. Right? Sthuli is taken as a body over here, not just body, all the three bodies. So, guna pravardha is, guna means three gunas. Pravardha means sthuli, converting into a body. So he says guna pravardha actually means that the type of body which you have is determined by your three gunas. Those three gunas have been converted into a body. And therefore, here, very interesting the idea being floated by Shankara is that gunas are the upadana karanam for the body. The material cause for the body is the guna. Why? Because the gunas provide the nama rupa. The nama rupa is what? Parinami upadana karanam. You get the argument? Guna pravardha finally means that the three gunas, they are the parinami upadana karanam for the body. Because what do they do? They provide you the form and the name, nama rupa. I hope that is clear.
जी
Remember, I'm giving you these detailed definitions because once these are etched in your mind, it's like, getting a tattoo. It'll never go, never go away. Right? So this has to be etched in your, this is the ideas. Guna pravardha has to be taken as the gunas being the parinami upadana karanam. And what is the vivarta upadana karanam?
Brahman.
Brahman. Why?
It doesn't change.
changing
It doesn't change. But when you say upadana karanam, it must be providing something to the body. What does it provide?
Substratum.
Consciousness, Sat.
Yeah, Sat.
Sat and Chit, existence and consciousness it provides to the body. Right? So this is a very, very beautiful definition. Gunas provide the nama rupa. And therefore, parinami upadana karanam. Brahman provides existence and consciousness, Sat and Chit. Therefore, vivarta upadana karanam. All this explanation of what? Guna pravardha. One simple compound word. Well, simple compound, you shouldn't say one compound. Anyway. The next word is what? Vishaya pravalaha. Right. Now, Vishaya is what? Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Right? Sense objects. And Pravala is the shoots. Therefore, Vishaya Pravala are responsible for the next body. The Pravala, the shoots, which are Vishaya only, Shabda, Sparsha, Rasa, and Gandha, are the cause for the next body. And Shankara makes a very, very interesting and a very subtle statement over here. He says these Vishayas are born from what? The body. Why? Because the body itself is a karma phalam and Vishaya is also a karma phalam. Therefore, it's a very interesting statement that Vishayas, the sense objects, are actually born from the Deha, the body. And this cannot be understood unless you have a very good background of Shastra. Can anybody attempt it? Why do you say that sense objects are born from the body? In what way? What explanation can you give that will make that statement correct or explain the statement? Anybody? Okay, it's a bit Tough to understand. So remember that the body is born for what purpose? What is the purpose of the body?
Moksha.
Karma. Karma.
To experience
Expend
karma
the
phalam.
karma.
To experience karma phalam. Right. Now, in experiencing karma phalam, what do you interact with?
The wishes.
The world
Vishayas.
through the vision.
The word, right? So it is the interaction of the body with the sense objects which helps you to experience the karma phala. Now, your next body, let's say next creation, is for what purpose? The next srishti is what purpose? It is the purpose of your, only for the purpose of exhausting your karma,
Remaining karma.
which is, no, not remaining karma. Don't ever say that. Prarabdha karma. The next
Okay.
srishti is for the purpose of exhausting prarabdha karma, which is
Prarabdha.
basically experiencing through pleasure and pain. And therefore, since it is your karma phalam which decides, and here you have to take the totality because you're talking about srishti, right? Talking about creation. So it is the universal karma phalam, samashti karma phalam, which decides what kind of srishti there will be next. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Okay. Samashti karma phalam will decide what is the next srishti. And what is in the next srishti? Sense objects. And therefore, the sense objects of the next srishti are born from what? From the karma phalam, which is born from karma of the body. And therefore, he says, Shankara says, Vishayas are born from bodies, from the karma phalam. Very, very beautiful connection between the sense objects and the body. To understand, you simply have to postpone the Vishayas or carry forward the Vishayas into the next cycle or your next birth. The sense objects which you give in the next birth, which you get in the next birth, it will be according to the karma of this birth. And if you take it as a samashti karma, then we're talking about the next creation. Okay. So that is all. Now we go to the third and the fourth lines. He says that vasana is what? Vasana is ragadvesha alone, which is born out of repeating a karma. Very important definitions. Okay, what is vasana? Nothing but ragadvesha. What is the difference between ragadvesha and vasana? Ragadvesha is one set of once or twice or thrice. But when you do that ragadvesha, same indulge in the raga and the dvesha continuously, repeatedly, then that repeated karma becomes a habit, becomes a vasana. And therefore, what do these vasanas lead to? It's a cycle.
Ragadvesha again.
Ragadvesha again, which leads to more karma. You get the what do you call flow.
Yeah.
When you repeat, when you give in to ragadvesha, you are repeating karma. When you repeat karma sufficient times, they form a habit, which is called vasana. Once you have a habit, those habit becomes the basis for your future karmas. And the way it says vasana alone is the root of the samsara tree. Karma alone, which converts into vasana, is the root of the samsara tree. Okay. Remember that in the early explanation, we said Brahman is the main root. Right. Now, you are seeing vasana driven karma as the Vishesha Karana. Ishvara is Samanya Karma. But the Vasana driven karma is Vishesha Karma. Vasana driven karma comes from whom? From the Jiva. Therefore, if you look at the imagery which we saw, the main root and the subsidiary roots. The Samanya Karanam Ishvara is the main root. And here he is saying that the subsidiary roots are the jivas which are spread all over. Therefore, adascha moolan anusantatani. These subsidiary roots, the jivas, are spread all over. So you can take it as the ragadvesha vasanas are the spreading secondary roots because they belong to the jivas only. And what do these vasanas do? That's very important. Karma anubandhini manushaloke. These karmas bind you to manushaloka, bind you to samsara. And why do you say manushaloka here instead of samsara? Because manushaloka alone, that's a very interesting point, right? In Manusha Janma alone is free will exercisable. And therefore, in Manusha Janma alone, can you generate punyam and papa? So remember that when we talk, generally when we talk, right, about discussion and all that, it's very important to understand these subtleties. We say only human beings have got free will, right? But there is a contradiction here. Are you referring to the jiva or are you referring to the human body? What would you say? Let us take the example of a person who is a human now, but a person who was a monkey in his previous life.
Jiva.
So the human body, because the human body has the capacity to think, analyze.
Human body, you are saying, has the capacity to think.
Analyze.
You just take the jiva as such and tell me, does the jiva have free will? Jiva meaning subtle body plus karana sharira.
No. The jiva, Acharyaji, even in Swargaloka, the residents of Swargaloka are also jivas. They have free will? They don't.
So where is it? What is the attributable point? You see, if you are saying that
The human body?
that last life, this jiva was a monkey, had no free will, but he is born as a human body, in a human being now. Are you saying the free will is something which is available in the human body? If the jiva had no free will,
Is the reference to Sanchit Karma?
no, don't confuse things. If the jiva had no free will in the monkey body, how will that same jiva have free will in the human body? Is the
It
question.
is because of Antakanda.
The Sukshma
Sukshma.
Karana.
So you are saying that jiva has no free will in any body but human body?
Yes.
No. Jiva, if he has no free will, he will have no free will in any body, whether it is human body or whether it is, what you call monkey body or whether it is Deva Shariram, he will have no free will. The jiva has to have free will.
But he's only able to exercise it in human body.
It is only the human body which enables that free will to be utilized. That is the correct understanding. And this understanding you must have with you. As advanced students, you should know that all jivas have free will. Only thing is, in a plant body, the plant body is not capable of letting that free will be exercised. In a deva body, the deva body is not capable of letting that free will be exercised. That free will can be implemented, can be available for utilization only in a Manushya body. And therefore, you'll find that if you look at some commentators, some of the commentators are very, very shrewd. They say that Manushya Loka has to be understood as Manushya Sharira. It's a very careful interpretation, which supplies the idea that all jivas have got free will, but the conditions for free will to be utilized, the infrastructure which makes it possible to utilize the free will is present only in a human body. We should never say that only humans have free will. Or when other jivas do not have free will, we should never say. You should always qualify saying, yes, every jiva has a free will, but that free will becomes available for utilization only in a human body. Very nice and interesting point, which is why I spent so much time on it. Okay.
Yes.
Human body is the medium to express.
Yes. We can put it that way also. Okay. Any questions? You see the depth of the bhashyam. You will never find this anywhere else. And that is why when you study through bhashyam, by the time you finish the Bhagavad Gita, the points are crystal clear, providing, of course, that you have been doing some sort of regular revision. Okay. We will go to the next verse. Let us
Sir, may
chant.
I ask one thing?
Yes, please.
We said that in Swargloka, when a jiva goes, there are two options, or in Brahmaloka, he has two options, either to study from Brahmaji or to enjoy.
Yes.
So there also he is using the free will?
No. The decided bhajan
No.
punyam available. There is no free will there.
Okay.
We are saying options only as
Yeah.
explained.
Yes, so that is why I'm trying to clarify that.
There is no free will there.
Okay.
Depending upon what kind of punyam has been generated, what kind of
So that determines.
that determines. There is a discussion in Brahma Sutra. Whenever we come to that, we'll see.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, thank you.
So we go to verse 3, we'll chant. Na rupamasyeha tatopalabhyate.
Padapyate.
Anto na chardin na cha sampratishtha.
Danto Sampratishtha.
Ashwatthaменam suvirudhamulam.
Ashwatthamenam suvirudhamulam.
Sangashastrena dridhena chitva. Another very, very beautiful verse. Asya rupam. So rupam asyeha. Okay. You have to break it up into rupam, asya, and anybody?
Iha.
Iha. Very good. So rupam, asya, iha. And therefore the whole thing you rewrite. Asya rupam tatha iha na upalabhyate. Asya rupam. This form iha na upalabhyate tatha. This form is not as it is perceived here. And na adir, that is a bit broken up. Cha na adihi sampratishtha. So na adihi, it has no beginning. Na cha sampratishtha, it has no middle. Na cha antaha, it has no end also. Antaha you will feel anto, na antaha. So that whole line breaks up into na adihi, na sampratishtha, na antaha. Antaha comes in the beginning in the verse, but you rearrange to make it sequential. No beginning, no middle, no end. Then Ashwattham chitva. Chitva means to cut. Ashwattham chitva. one should cut this Ashwatha tree su virudha moolam, which is very firmly rooted. So virudha moolam, its roots are very firmly entrenched. And therefore, Krishna is saying you should cut down this samsara tree, this Ashwatha tree. How? Dridena asanga shastrena, with a weapon of detachment, asangaha. And you should cut the tree dridena, very, very firmly you should cut. Okay. So now we are talking about some of the undesirable aspects of the samsara tree. Asya rupam. So this asya rupam is to be connected to the last verse, which means the form of this tree as described in sloka number 2. Tatha iha na upalapyate is not as is seen in this world. Okay. Why? Because in this world, it is constantly changing. And how does it change? So, there is a very nice way of understanding. In fact, there are two ways of understanding how this changes. For the one who has not come to Shastra, Anatma is constantly changing, form to form, right? Anatma form, one Anatma form to another Anatma form. One birth you are a monkey, another birth you are a human being, third birth you are Yamaraj. Constantly changing. That is for a Ajnani. For a Jnani, there is only a one-time change. What is that?
Understanding its Atma alone.
Yeah. So Anatma's Mithyatvam understanding makes it change to Atma. That change happens only once for a Jnani. So for a Jnani, the world changes but once. For a Ajnani, the world is constantly changing. And Shankara adds a imagery. Swapna, Maricha, Udaka, Aya, Gandharva Nagara, Samatvat. Can you understand? Swapna, constantly changing like a dream. Maricha Udaka. What is that?
Mirage water.
Mirage water. Constantly changing like mirage water. Maya, of course, changing like Maya. Gandharva Nagaram, city in the clouds. They are all, why city in the clouds? You look at the clouds and you'll find the city is there, but the city is constantly changing. Right? If your imagination is there, that is. And therefore, Shankara adds, the very nature is what? Drishta Nashta Swabhavaha. A very beautiful little line. Drishta Nashta Swabhavaha. Drishta means what? You are seeing it. Nashta means it's being destroyed. So its character, Swabhava, is that even as you are seeing, it is being destroyed. So even as you are seeing it, it is gone. And you can think of it as the present moment, for no object will remain the same in time, not even this moment. This moment is there only as you are seeing. The next moment it is gone. Drishta Nashtaha. Because of this idea, that is Drishta Nashtaha, it has no existence of its own. And therefore only when you do an inquiry into the world, you will find that it disappears into its substratum, its vastu. It becomes mithya. But here the word, then why does Shankara use the word samatvat? Similar to a dream, similar to mirage water, similar to maya. Samatvat is important. It is similar because you're talking about Jagrat Prapancha, right? And Shankara very carefully says that Jagrat Prapancha is similar to Swapna Prapancha. It is not the same. Similarity means it is not identical. It has similar features. Why does he say so? Because Swapna Prapancha is a projection, all right. But whose projection?
Only the individuals.
The
Jivas.
Jiva's mental projection,
Mhm.
right? It is not Ishvara's projection. Ishvara's projection or Maya's projection is the Jagrat Prapancha. Therefore, both Jagrat and Swapna are projections. One is Vyashti Manaha, individual's mind, individual Jiva's mind. One is Samashti Manaha, Ishvara's mind. But they have similarities. Both can be experienced. Both have utility. And in both you can transact. Also, both are Agama Payanaha. Both are subject to arrival. Both are subject to departure also. And the third is that both are very real within their own viewpoint. The dream is very real to the dreamer. The dream is unreal only to the waker. Jagrat Prapancha, Vyavaharika, is very real to the one in Vyavaharika. Only from the Paramarthika point of view can he consider it Mithya. And the last one is that the Swapna Prapancha borrows existence from whom?
Jagrat Prapancha.
Vyavaharika.
Vishwa.
From the Vishwa, the waker. Remember that Swapna Prapancha does not borrow existence from the dreamer. Why? The dreamer is within the Swapna Prapancha. So the dreamer cannot lend existence to the Swapna Prapancha because he is part of the Swapna Prapancha. But the waker lends existence to the Swapna Prapancha. Similarly, the Vyavaharika Prapancha, you lend existence, but not as part of the Vyavaharika Prapancha, not as a Vyavaharika Jiva. You lend existence as Paramarthika Ishvara. And therefore, both borrow existence from whom? From the Sakshi, the observer. The waker is the observer of the Swapna Prapancha. The Ishvara is the observer of the Jagrat Prapancha. And because of that, both Jagrat and Swapna Prapancha are Mithya. Right? And therefore he says, Na antaha. You cannot talk about the end of this Jagat. Why can you not talk of the end of the Jagat? Why can you not say?
It's cyclical.
Any other answer? Okay.
Maya is Anadi.
Let's look at the rope snake example, Rajju Sarpaha. When does the Rajju Sarpa die?
Only with knowledge. Jnana.
Yeah.
When Rajju is realized.
When we put a light on it,
What do you see then?
when you see the
the
light of
sea-
knowledge, the light of knowledge, when
Not a snake.
When you
Mithyatvam
put the
of
light,
rope.
when you put the light, do you see the snake clutching its throat and dying in front of you?
No, there is no snake.
No.
There is no. The snake died.
The snake never existed.
Mm.
Therefore, you cannot say the rope snake dies because there was no Rajju Sarpa to begin with.
Same with samsara.
Same
Jagat,
with samsara.
Jagat
You
was
cannot say
never
samsara will
real.
end because there is no samsara to begin with. Similarly, na adihi. You cannot talk of the birth of the rope snake because there is no rope snake at all. You cannot talk about the birth of the universe because there is no real universe at all. Very, very deep and beautiful ideas. I hope I'm going a bit slow because I would like these ideas to sink in and be, tattooed onto your brain, implanted onto your brain. This is the reason, this is a side note. This is the reason why, as long as you talk about Jivan Mukti, you are a junior student. As long as you talk about Jivan Mukti or Videha Mukti, you are still a junior student. Why?
Because you're already Nitya
Already
Mukta.
Mukta.
Because there is no such thing as a Jiva. There is no creature called Jiva at all. Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti are for the Jiva. If you are talking of Jivan Mukti or Videha Mukti, you consider yourself a Jiva and therefore you are a junior student. The moment you know you are Brahman, you are Nitya Muktaha. Where is the question of, Videha Mukti or even Jivan Mukti? So the day that you drop the word Videha Mukti or Jivan Mukti from your dictionary, you will have moved to the advanced Vedantic student category, which I hope is true of all of you at the moment, because we are on the 15th chapter, right? Okay, then we look at the next words. What is that? Nacha Sampratishtaha. So Sampratishtaha means Sthiti, the maintenance stage. So if you cannot talk of Adi and Antaha, where is the question of talking about the middle? If there is no beginning and there is no middle, then there is no end. Where is the question of middle? If there is no Srishti or no Laya, where is the question of Sthiti? Right? Normally, remember, Sampratishta, the word, means support. But you remember that in this particular verse, Sampratishta is to be connected to Adi and Antaha. Therefore, there is a Adi, there is a Antaha. Sampratishta is that which supports the Adi and the Antaha. Right? So basically the middle, the Madhyam. And the idea is that the whole world is Mithya, Anirvachaniyam. Do not ever try to logically understand the world. Okay. So with this first line, the samsara description is over. Now, Krishna starts a new topic. It is the Sanskrit, you can say samsara nivritti upayaha. How to get free of samsara. What are the sadhanani required for getting free of samsara? And Krishna will talk about 4 different tools, 4 different efforts to be made. One is dispassion, that is vairagyam. One is inquiry into the root of the samsara tree, which we call Brahma Vicharaha, because the root is Brahman. The third is surrender, which is Sharanagati. And the fourth is developing a healthy, refined mind, which is having desirable qualities of the mind. We can call it a sadguna. So there are 4 sadhanani being the plural for sadhana, okay, for those who don't know. 4 sadhanas, vairagyam, Brahma Vichara, Sharanagatihi, and Sadgunaha. So he says, Enam Ashwatham Yatha Uktam. Enam Ashwatham. This Ashwatha Vrikshaha, this samsara tree, Yatha Uktam, as has been described in the earlier 2.5 verses. 2.5 verses ending where? Nacha Adi na Sampratishta. Because that is the part of the 3rd verse. So 2.5 verses ending there. Right? What about the samsara tree? Suvirudha Moolam. Suvirudha Moolam means with deeply entrenched roots. What are these entrenched roots for us? Ahankara, Mamakara, Ragaha, Dveshaha. And therefore, these deeply buried roots are difficult to pull out. And therefore, he says that only one way is there. Asanga Shastrena, with the weapon of detachment. And Shankara, of course, wants to drive home the point more which you need not take very seriously, okay? So he says Asanga means Putra Vitta Loka Eshana Vyutthanam. So Vyutthanam means what? To renounce. So Putra Vyutthanam. Okay, you have to. There are four words actually. Putra Vitra Loka Eshana. So you have to add an Eshana to every word. Putra Eshana Vyutthanam. Eshana means the desire. Okay. So Putra Eshana Vyutthanam means renouncing the desire for putras. Similarly, Vitta Eshana Vyutthanam, renouncing the desire for wealth. Loka Eshana Vyutthanam. So here Loka means the better lokas. Because you're already in this loka, you can't be desiring that loka. So Vyutthanam means higher lokas. Urdhva Loka Eshana. Therefore, Loka Eshana Vyutthanam. Urdhva Loka Eshana Vyutthanam. Renouncing the desire for better lokas. And therefore, finally, what does Asanga mean? When you're renouncing desires for all these things, you are getting Vairagyam. Therefore, Asanga has to bring us Vairagyam, which is what I said. It was the first quality required. And how to acquire this Vairagyam? You have to turn away from the world and turn towards Ishvara. Because the world is like a cardboard chair. It looks very nice. But if you go to sit on that cardboard chair, you will collapse. Therefore, don't hold on to the world for security. Enjoy the world, no problem. But do not depend upon it. So reduce dependence upon the world. And for this, we have to think about all the defects of the world. So we have seen this Trivada Doshaha. 3 types of defects. What are they?
Dukhamishritatvam, Bandhakatvam,
Adriptikaratvam, Atriptikaratvam, and Bandhakatvam. Everybody knows the meaning, I hope. We have to repeat.
Yes, please.
Okay. I would like one of you to say what is Dukhamishritatvam, Atriptikaratvam, and Bandhakatvam. Who would like to attempt?
Dukhamishritatvam. Please go on, please.
Pain of acquisition and maintenance,
And
fear of loss.
yes, fear of loss. So that is Dukhamishritatvam. Why Mishri? Mixture.
It's a mix of both pleasure and pain. When you get the desirable, you feel pleasure. When you don't get the desirable, you feel the pain.
What is Atriptikaratvam?
It's never satisfying. Unending desires are always there. More desires come up. Once one desire is fulfilled, more and more keep coming.
More and more. And Bandhakatvam?
Binding and attachments. You
Because
think it's mine
you get attached to desires, and that itself causes bondage, right? So these are the 3 defects of the world, of any vastu, any what you call Vishaya. And Asanga Shastrena, we said, means Vairagyam, right? So what is that weapon which gives you Vairagyam? Shastram. So Shastram is the sword the axe which gives you Vairagyam. Therefore, use the axe or the sword of Shastram to Dridena Chitva, firmly cut your dependence upon this Suvirudha Moolam Ashwatha, upon this very deeply entrenched roots of the Ashwatha tree. And here Shankara adds a note. While cutting the roots, Chitva, while Samsara Vriksham Chitva, while cutting the roots, Shankara adds Sabijam. You have to cut the roots along, you have to cut the tree along with its roots. Samsara Vriksham Chitva. While cutting the tree, you have to use the roots also. Make sure the roots are also cut. Therefore, it is not enough if you turn your back, if you renounce the world and family and possessions. Merely cutting the relationship is not enough. It should be sabijam. Very, very important point for all of us. Cutting the tree means turning your back on world, family, possessions, etc. Cutting off relationships. But the sabijam is very important. It means that the vasanas should be cut. Vasanas should be dropped. And therefore, in our language, it is more important to take mental sannyasa than formal sannyasa. You can remain with the family, but mentally you should detach yourself. Doesn't mean that you should not do your duties. You have to perform all your duties, take care of them, look after them, everything. But mentally, you should be a sannyasi. And Krishna said this much earlier. Where did he say? 6th chapter. Nahi asanyasta sankalpaha yogi bhavati kaschana. The one who has not renounced his sankalpas, the one who has not renounced his mental, the vasanas, he can never be a yogi. Okay, any questions so far? No. Right, let us try to do one more verse. We might run over 5 minutes. I hope it's okay. So the 4th verse, we will chant. Tadaf padam tat parimargitavyam
Padam tat parimargatavya
yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyaha
Yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyah.
tameva chadyam purusham prapadye
Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye.
yatah pravritti prasata purani.
Yatah pravritti prasata purani.
So tataha tat padam, that goal. Tataha padam is tat padam, that goal. Tataha, thereafter, tat padam. So that you have to break up very carefully. There is tataha in the beginning, there is a padam, and there is a tat parimargitavyam. You can see first line. So you remove the tat from the tat parimargitavyam and you bring it before the padam. And therefore you'll have 3 words. Tataha, tat padam. All these things have different meanings, okay? Tataha means thereafterwards. And we'll explain that. Thereafterwards, tat padam, that goal. So tataha, tat padam, thereafter that goal, parimargitavyam should be inquired into. And then yasmin gataha, reaching that goal, na nivartanti bhuyaha, one does not return again. Prapadye, I surrender. You have to add aham. Aham prapadye, I surrender. Tameva adyam purusham, to that adi purushaha, yataha pravrittihi purani, from whom this ancient creation has come. Prasada, originated. Yataha purani pravrittihi prasada, from where this ancient creation, prasadaha, has come, has originated. Okay. Therefore, tataha. And what is tataha? Shankara very carefully says paschat. After. After what? You have to look at the previous verse which we just discussed. After what?
Samsara tree is cut with detachment.
After detachment.
Asanga shastrena.
So after getting vairagyam, which means after you have gone through karmakanda, after you have got chitta shuddhi, the emotional maturity has come, then only tataha, then only tat padam, that ultimate destination which is Brahman or Atma, Parimargitavyam. Shankara says Anveshanam. Anveshanam is a word which means enquiry. An enquiry with the help of the Guru and the Shastra. Guru by himself is of no use. If Guru is not teaching Shastra, it is of no use. If Shastram by itself without the Guru is of no use. Therefore, Guru and Shastra. So Shankara says here that this inquiry has to culminate, has to end in an understanding of what Shastra says. Yatavyam. You must understand what Shastra says. What does Shastra say? Tattvamasi. What should you understand? Aham Brahma Asmi. Right. Having done that, Yasmin, that Atma, Yasmin Pade, Gataha. Having reached that Atma, having understood that you are the Atma, na nivartanti. Nivartanti, Shankara gives a very long definition. Na avartante bhuyaha punaha samsara. He says, na avartan. He does not return again. Bhuyaha means punaha. Having known that he is the Atma, he will not return to the samsara, which means he is not born again. And then, katham parimargitavyam. What is this enquiry? Iti aha. This is now being said. What is that? Tameva adhyam purushaha. You alone are the Lord. So, pointing out, the first step is to recognize Ishvara, which means that you have to develop Ishvara Bhakti. Without that Ishvara Bhakti, without that devotion, any amount of intellect will not help you in the path to moksha. In fact, I would say that without bhakti, your intellect, however keen it is, it actually becomes an obstacle. Right? And Purusham. So you alone are the Purusham. Purusham has two meanings, both of which are very nice. The first one is Purayati Sarva, that which pervades everything. The second is Pure Vasati iti Purusha. Pure means city. And this is the city of your body. So Pure Vasati iti Purusham. The one who dwells in your body, that is the Lord. So you have two things. One is that Ishvara who pervades the entire universe, Brahman. One is that Ishvara who dwells in your body, Sakshi Chaitanya. So you have the Chaitanyam which is spread all over Brahman. You have Sakshi Chaitanyam which is in the body. To that Ishvara, to that all-pervading Lord who is in my heart. So if you combine them, it becomes that all-pervading Bhagavan, consciousness principle, who is the Sakshi principle in my heart. I surrender. Therefore, idea is that Ishvara Sharanagati and Vedanta Vichara cannot be divorced from each other. Right? So we have seen this earlier in 7th chapter. Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjanmadashrayaha Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Jnasasi Tachruno. Yogam Yunjan is what be committed to Jnana Yoga. Indicates Vedanta Vichara. Madashrayaha means what? Ishvara Sharanagati. Be surrendered to me. And therefore, Vedanta Vichara is the self-effort of studying, going to a teacher, understanding the scripture, at the same time, devotion, bhakti, and Ishvara's grace, Ishvara Anugraha must be there. Okay, there is a beautiful little mantra in Upanishad called Shvetashvara Upanishad. Okay, Shvetastaro Upanishad. Beautiful little mantra. It says, Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam. Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam. Yo Vai Vedamscha prahinoti tasmai tamha devam atma buddhi prakasham mukshurvai sharanam aham prapatye. Very beautiful little mantra which we should commit to memory. All Vedantics should have this memorized. What does it say? Yo brahmanam vidadhati purvam. That Hiranyagarbha, Saguna Brahman, who was first created by Ishvara. Ishvara is what here?
Antaryami.
Sorry?
Antaryami.
Antaryami. Very good. So Antaryami who created Saguna Brahman, Hiranyagarbha. Yo vai Vedamscha prahinoti tasmai. And that Ishvara gave the knowledge of Veda to that Hiranyagarbha. And Tamha Devam, that same Hiranyagarbha who was created by Antaryami Ishvara and who was given Paravidya and Paravidya by Ishvara, Tamha Devam, that same Hiranyagarbha, Atma Buddhi Prakasham, is in my intellect in the form of consciousness. And to that Ishvara, Mumukshu Vai Sharanam Aham Prapatti. I am a Mumukshu Vai, because I am Mukshu, Aham Sharanam Prapatti, to that Hiranyagarbha who is in my intellect as the consciousness principle. I surrender. And what type of Lord is he? Yataha Purani Pravarti Prasataha. From this Ishvara, this entire samsara has been born. And Shankara adds here that this samsara is mithya also, just like the tree is mithya. And not only that, it is eternal. It is a cycle, there is no beginning and no end. And therefore, to summarize this particular beautiful mantra, what does it say? First, get dispassion, vairagyam. Then inquire into Atma. Once Atma is understood as Aham Brahma Asmi, you will not return again to this world. And to start on this journey, what should you do? You should pray to that Hiranyagarbha who was created by Antaryami and who was given Aparavidya and Paravidya. So you should pray to that Saguna Ishvara, that consciousness principle who is residing in yourself as the Sakshi. So with this, we'll stop for today. Any questions?
Thank you so much.
Om Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience. Om.
Thank you.